President Trump was immediately fact-checked in real time by Chris Wallace on Fox News. This is pretty funny.
And it's really because they want to defund the police, and Biden wants to defund the police.
Sir, he does not.
Look, he signed a charter with Bernie Sanders. I will get that one, just like I was right on the mortality rate. Did you read the charter that he agreed to?
It says nothing about defunding the police.
Oh, really? It says abolish. It says defund. Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
All right.
Chris, you've got to start studying for these.
He says defund the police.
He says defund the police. They talk about abolishing the police. They talk about illegal aliens pouring.
I look forward to seeing that. Meanwhile.
So let's see what this says here. Prosecution, sanctuary cities, incentivize illegal alien, expand asylum, abolish immigration detention. No,
that's not.
Well, no, we'll find it.
Okay.
This thing is many pages long. End prosecution of illegal border crossers. Support deathly, and these are the worst things.
Sir, I'm not disagreeing with you on any of those. I'm disagreeing about defund police.
The White House never sent us evidence the Bernie Biden platform calls for defunding or abolishing police because there is none. It calls for increased funding for police departments that meet certain standards. Biden has called for redirecting some police funding for related programs like mental health counseling.
What I'm amazed by is that even this late in the game, Trump has simply not adjusted the message to something more powerful. So the strategy against Hillary was corruption, corruption, corruption. She's the status quo. She's the establishment. I'm the outsider. She wants to outsource your jobs. TPP, she called it the gold standard. NAFTA supported that. The Iraq war, all these wars. So you got to vote for me because I'm the outsider and the forgotten man will never be forgotten again. That was the 2016 strategy. You want the same old, or you want to try something new? That was the 2016 strategy. 2020 strategy is Biden is radical left controlled by Marxists, and I will protect statues, and you can't go for him because he's an extremist. The first strategy, the strategy against Hillary was powerful because a lot of it was true. A lot of that stuff is true. This argument you're trying to make against Biden, it's never going to land because it's not true. It's not even close to true. And the more Trump goes down this path, the more his numbers go down. And then he just goes further down that path. Dude, you have Fox News. Fox News. The network that throws you softballs all day. They're like, okay, listen, bro, that's not really quite true. You're going to say the dude that wrote the crime bill, he was the architect of mass incarceration. Somehow that guy is, against the police, and he's against law and order. The problem is, he was too obsessed with that nonsense to the point where he was willing to criminalize nonviolent offenses. That's the problem. So in other words, the argument is fundamentally the opposite of what Trump is saying. The real argument, he could go out there and say, listen, I signed criminal justice reform. I signed the First Step Act. I actually did more to get innocent people out of prison compared to Biden. He put innocent people in prison. So I'm the one who's fighting for the people on this front. He could make that argument. He doesn't. He makes something up. Biden's far left and he wants to abolish the police. Joe Biden is a moderate Republican. That's what he is. So any argument trying to paint him as some sort of far left person, it's not going to work. And by the way, I get really sad thinking about this because if Bernie Sanders was the nominee, Bernie would be just as up on Trump as Biden is right now, if not more so. Why? Because we have a pandemic and we have an economic crisis, a COVID depression, and no president could override that. But on top of that, also the strategy is really stupid. This also wouldn't work against Bernie, by the way, because he would say, oh, Bernie, far left, and all this stuff, and Bernie would just come out and say, there's a pandemic, millions of people have lost their health care, I'm going to give them health care. What about you, Don? That's all he had to do. I'm for giving people $2,000 a month, universal basic income. How about you, Don? And then he's got no solid response. So Bernie would be just as up, if not more up, on Trump. It's not, this strategy is not going to work. And it's amazing to me that he can't readjust. Listen, I think first and foremost, what he would have to do in order to have a chance is substantively address COVID, which I think it's actually too late for that now because he already messed up. How are you going to do every single day a COVID press conference and then you stop doing it? Now the virus is worse than it was early on and you're still not doing a daily COVID press conference anymore. So when the virus was not as bad, you were talking about it every day. Now it's worse than ever and you're nowhere to be found on it. And you're basically saying, I hope people just forget about it. Do you not understand? Even just fake leadership would have done. Do you not get that? Look at Cuomo in New York. His approval rating is through the roof. And he did a terrible job with COVID. But it was just the appearance of leadership that made people go, oh, okay, looks like he's on top of it, relatively speaking. That's all you had to do. All Trump had to do was pretend to be leading on COVID. And on top of that, just give one lasting relief effort economically. And I think he would have won the election. If he led on COVID or pretended to lead on COVID and actually looked like he was in control of it, had some measures that mitigated how bad the numbers got, and then on top of that, let's say just a UBI for the duration of the crisis, that alone, I think he could have won the election. But because he hasn't substantively addressed these problems, the real world is just smacking people in the face relentlessly. And so now they're going anything but this guy, anything but this guy. So Trump, what he had to do was materially address the economic downturn and COVID. He had to do that. But beyond that, he could have just used the same playbook that he used against Hillary against Biden. So not, oh my God, he's so far left, because that's stupid. That's stupid. But he could have used the same, oh, you want to go back to the status quo. Is that what you want to do? You want your jobs to get outsourced again? You want more stupid wars? Is that what you want to do? So he could have used that playbook. He's not even talking about corruption in regards to Joe Biden anymore. We thought, oh my God, Trump is going to destroy Biden because he's just going to hammer away on the corruption in the same way that he hammered away on the Clinton Foundation corruption when it was Hillary. He's not touching corruption when it comes to Biden because he's too busy pretending like he's Antifa, which of course is ridiculous. So this is, oh my God. You know Trump is in trouble when even Fox News can fact check him on the spot. And he's got no response. Of course Biden didn't call for defunding the police. Of course he didn't do that. He's Joe Biden. And by the way, these guys, they never want to engage with ideas and policies honestly. Because to actually engage with the idea of defund the police, we have to define it and know what people are talking about. And some of the strongest advocates of that position, when you hear them lay out exactly what they mean, it's not as extreme as it sounds. It's like it has a lot to do with building up support systems, community support systems that don't necessarily involve somebody with a gun showing up first and foremost. Could be, psychological mental health experts showing up who their only tool is de-escalation. And this is how we fix problems. So the idea of defunding the police, they don't even bother to actually understand the best interpretation of that position and steel man their opponent and then debate it that way. No, they just use it as a caricature. That's what it is. And, it's no surprise when he's that deep in his own bubble that he's down this much and he's continuing to go down. Guys, I see no signs of life from Trump. I'm almost ready to pound the gavel. This election is nearly over. And this is coming from a guy who said in 2016, I was one of the few people on the left who said Trump could definitely win because he was running an amazing campaign and Hillary was running a terrible campaign. This is not 2016. It's that simple.